Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how to find an equation of a graph using its roots. So here on the screen we have a graph. This is on Desmos, but you could see this on paper or you could see this on your graphing calculator. And I might ask you to tell me what are all the real solutions to this equation. So to do that, all you have to do is find where the graph hits the x-axis. So in this case, the graph hits the x-axis 3 times. So that means that this is going to have 3 real solutions. And all you have to do is tell me the x values. You'll notice all the y values are all 0. So all the roots, all the answers, all the solutions to this would be -3, -1, and 4. Now, if they asked you to find the equation of this graph, if you know where it hits the x-axis, you can tell me the equation. Now, if you look over here on the left, I've written the equation to make the graph, and you can see that each time it hits the x-axis, we use that in parentheses, but we use the opposite because we want it to be equal to 0. So if we want it to hit at -3, then we're going to say x plus 3 because we want this parenthesis to add up to 0. That's why these are called zeros. This one is -1, so we're going to say -1 plus 1 is 0. So x plus 1, x plus 3, and then this one is a +4, so that's why it says x minus 4. So this is your answer. You don't have to simplify. You don't have to, multiply or anything like that. You just write it like that, and that's your answer. And when you write it like that, people will see that and say, oh, this hits the x-axis 3 times, and it hits a -3, a -1, and +4. Let's look at another example. This one hits the x-axis twice at -3 and +3. Now, that means that it has 2 real solutions, -3 and +3. When I go to write the equation, you'll notice that the first one here is in parentheses with a squared. And the reason the squared is there, if the graph crosses the x-axis, like it does at +3 here, we're just going to say x minus 3. But if the graph bounces off of the axis, then that means that it actually is 2 solutions. So this is still one solution. This is still one answer. But we need to tell the graph, hey, this actually is there twice, and that's why we have this squared there. So this -3, in order to make it bounce off the x-axis, we need to use it twice. And another way I can write this, if you don't want to write the squared, another way to write this is to just write it twice. You can see writing it twice gets me the same graph as if I just write it once with a squared. This one bounces off of the x-axis twice, so both of our parentheses will need to have a squared. You can see it hits at -3 and -1. So that's why our equation is +1 and +3. And they're both squared because in both of those cases, it bounces off of the x-axis. And then the last example here, it hits the x-axis, crosses the x-axis 4 times. -5, -3, -2, and -1. So that's why the parentheses over here are +1, +2, +3, and +5. Now, if for some reason the equation doesn't match, if you're given multiple choice or something and it doesn't match, something you might have to explore is that there might be a negative out front. Watch what happens when I put a negative out front. All the intersections, all the places it hits the x-axis stay the same, but the graph just goes the other way. So we'll talk about that more in a different video, but if you put a negative in front of all these equations, you'll see that all the equations go the other way. Okay, so if you're looking for that choice in a multiple choice situation and it's not there, maybe there needs to be a negative in there. All right, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.